Welcome back. Let's continue with fields 25 through 33 of the CMS 1500 form. Let's start on the home screen so that we can create a new invoice and start fresh. I'm going to click the invoicing button here, create a new invoice, select the template, and then I'm going to discount this one 10%, 5%, and 10%. I'm then going to add a payment of 1/4. Doesn't really matter what type. And so I have all of that right there. And let's go ahead and go over to the CMS 1500 area, 25 through 33. The reason I'm doing that is I want to show you something over to the side here. Notice that these buttons are popping up, by the way, that give me instructions about each field. Well, I can go into I'm getting ahead of myself, but I can turn those tooltips off. After you learn those, they kind of get in the way. So you can turn those off under the setup area. I wanted to show you this is the total charge that will be put onto the printed CMS 1500 form or the electronic billing form, and the amount paid will be displayed as well. But you can override that. If you click this little button right here, it says do not include payment. So watch what happens. It fills in this amount here to modify the total, although it's the same because we're only asking to modify the payments. And we're showing that the payments are now 0. Now obviously this is not for fraudulent reasons. It's for insurance company game reasons, that sometimes you have to adjust the CMS 1500 to be paid appropriately, and we just make it easier for you to do that. Now if you click this button above that, then it actually will remove the discounts that you had on there, or the write-offs or whatever it is, and put the total charges. So if we go back here, we see that the total charges are higher than because we discounted those 10%, 10%, 5%, whatever it is. And we don't want that to reflect on the CMS 1500 form. So let's go back again to that same section. And that's what this area here is. Now, this field here is reserved for the National Uniform Claim Committee. You can put something in there, but it's really generally not something that you're going to use. This button here can, refresh the window in case you need to pull these numbers up and they're not displaying properly. So you can just click that little button there. Over to the side, I have all of Jennifer's invoice history showing there, but as you know, if I had isolated by finding all the pending claims, then that would only show, let's go back to the area 25 through 33, it would show all the claims that I'm currently working on. Some of these are just sample data, so please excuse if they have a question mark or some unusual thing there. So over on this side here, area 25 should pull in the federal tax ID number from the setup area. I think I'll bounce back and show you where all this information is. I think you've seen before that if I set up the practice NPI number here and the federal tax ID here, then that's going to be pulled onto the form. Now I just click this little pencil and paper icon there. That's how I get to that. So we'll go right back to invoicing, CMS, and we'll look here. So the federal tax ID number should be pulled in automatically if, in fact, you've assigned an office ahead of time. Make sure you do that. Otherwise, yes, you can re-look up the claim data right there. I'm not going to do that now. Obviously, you know the difference between a social security number and employment identification number. That is going to be set as the default. The patient's unique identifier number, called the key in HearForm, is going to be automatically pulled into this area. And generally, we can have it set to, I'm on Matthew Swain here, but our newest, Jennifer's newest record will automatically put a yes there unless you would ask us not to do that. But that generally is a good idea. The clinician's full name will automatically be pulled in because we've assigned that clinician ahead of time, and the clinician is inherited or pulled onto the top of the invoice itself right there. So coming back here, we can put in a date. That date can automatically appear there for you. This does say note a maximum number of 22 spaces is allowed in 31A. And our tooltip often tells you how many spaces are allowed just before it's cut off. So you just want to keep that in mind. Those rules are set by the National Uniform Claim Committee. Now this is just a little helpful area here. It shows you that the assigned office on the home screen is Del Rey and the assigned clinician is right here. If in fact you want to change that either on the home screen or the invoice, you can do so. You may wonder what's the difference. Well, a patient may normally be assigned to the Boynton Beach office, but they may be coming to a branch office for some other type of service. So that's why we allow you to put something in both areas. Please keep in mind that if you change it here, it's going to change it on the patient's home screen. So only do that if you really want to. Now the NPI number can be looked up automatically for the area 33, but you're going to have to make a decision. Do you want it to be the clinician number? Let's remove this and I'll show you what I mean. So if I set that to the clinician number and I do a relookup, in other words, this is how it will look when it first starts. You normally wouldn't have to do that. Nothing comes in here, but let me change this. I'm going to change this to a different clinician, and I can do that here on the invoice as well. And notice it pulled in that number for me right there. Now, if I had set this to the practice NPI number, let me clear this out and re-look up the claim. Refresh that. When I choose a location here, it will automatically pull in the assigned NPI number for that location. So the key, though, is, as I've said before, is that if you can have this set ahead of time, you're generally going to always want to use either the clinician NPI number in area 33A or the practice. Just have that set. It's a global setting, and you can have it automatically pull that in from that point forward. So right here, these choices in the drop-down list are set up in the CMS 1500 setup area. We're going to show that in a minute, but I'll just show you, for example, if I choose Boynton Beach, you'll notice that it's a Boynton Beach address there. If I had previously chosen Delray or anything else, it will pull in that appropriate information, so you shouldn't have to type it. The same is true in area 33. You'll also notice that the phone number and the digits without a dash or any other parentheses or that sort of thing are all automatically pulled in as well. Finally, down in this area here, we can include this claim in the next batch to be printed or the next batch to be e-billed. And what that means is right here you'll see that little mark there is marked because we took the time to mark that. So as a biller, you can finish up the claim right here in area 25 through 33. You've looked through each of these different tabs and made sure everything is appropriate, and then just decide whether or not you want to send this through billing through e-billing or through the printed page. So whatever you adjust here will allow you later to just do a quick lookup and find all those that are marked for printing, or find all those that are marked here. And we'll cover that in a subsequent video. But that's where this is coming from right there. And again, if you'd like, you can look up your print image format here. It takes a minute to rebuild itself, and you can just kind of see how things are there. It's cutting off a little bit on the screen here, but I think you get the idea. I think that pretty well covers this area here, and we'll continue on with the next section.